Good afternoon. Today is the 5th of December, and it's time for our regular feature where we look at the top 10 best-selling cars, in this case, of November 2024. So the figures actually have just come out today, so I'm really sort of excited to tell you about this. We've had one more opportunity at the end of the year. Actually, it'll be early January when the figures for December 2024 and the figures for 2024 as a whole are announced. So this is our last opportunity for the year to look at this, and we'll see if we're anywhere near getting to the target for the zero emission vehicle mandate, which is 22% of cars sold in this country this year must be zero tailpipe emissions or fully electric. Otherwise, the manufacturers will get fined £15,000 per car for every vehicle they sold which doesn't actually meet this particular legislation. So that's going to be big fines then for most of the manufacturers. Tesla will be all right, won't they? So the way this is going to work, as it usually does, is we'll look at the power source mix, I suppose, for each car that was sold last month, as opposed to November 2023. We'll then look at the breakdown between the private fleet and business sectors, and we'll look at the top 10 bestsellers. After that, we'll look at how each manufacturer individually is doing. That's just the way that we do things. If that isn't really what you've been expecting, then, well, you could go and watch Furious Driving or Hubnut or something, can't you? So we'll start off with the breakdown for power source here. So diesel, the forbidden fuel, no surprise whatsoever at all. That is down by a considerable amount. The market share for these cars we don't talk about channel, thank you Mayor of London and everybody else who seems to be on a mission to eliminate these from existence, is actually not much has changed, but in terms of percentage, we've got to be a bit careful here because the market's actually down by 2% in comparison with November 2023. So whatever has happened, there could be several reasons to that. One of them is people don't want these electric cars, despite the government saying to the manufacturers we need to sell them. They don't want them. So let's start off with the forbidden fuels. The market share in November 2023 was 6.7%. It's now 6.1%. Number of cars sold has dropped from 10,500 to 9,500, and that's a 10% negative change or decrease. Why can't I just say decrease? That'd be better, wouldn't it? Anyway, petrol's also in decline. We've got some percentage changes from others, and it's one of the biggest jumps I've actually ever seen. But it's still not enough to. It's still not enough to make the market share of battery electric vehicles comply. But you know. Anyway, petrol, I do apologise, I got distracted there. It was 85,500 of those sold in November 2023. Last month is 70,000, that's a 80% decrease. The market share has gone down from 55% to 46%. And now we come to the reason why, because every other power source, apart from fully electric, is in decline. Electric vehicles are not. They must be kind of busting their gut to try to meet this 22% overall quota for 2024, because in November 2023 the market share for electric cars was 16%. It's now 25% to 58% increase. Number of cars sold has gone from 24,000 November 2023 to 39,000. Wow. Plug-in hybrid actually has decreased. Market share has very slightly gone up from 10.1 to 10.2% because of the overall decline in the market, but it's actually a 1.2% decrease. It's gone from 15,900 to 15,700. Similar story really with the hybrid electric vehicle. This is everything from your average Toyota Yaris all the way sort of through loads of Stellantis cars now and Renaults, and there's so many, and Dacia Jogger, and there's just so many of them. So the market share has barely changed. It's gone from 13% to 12.8% last month. It's actually a percentage change is about 4% down. And the number of cars sold last November was about 20,000. It's now about 19,500. Now, if we look at the private fleet and business sector, not much change in terms of the market share here. You've got to remember that most of these electric cars, which have been registered in huge numbers over the last month, they have been sold to fleets. So the private sector, the market share has barely changed. It's gone from about 39% to 38% in the last year. But the number of cars sold has gone down by about 3%. In 2023, it was about 60.5%, and last month it's 58.5%. Fleet sector, though, not a massive change in the market share, from about 59.5% to 60%. It's declined a little bit less actually than the overall market. It's about 2%, declined about 1%. Number of cars sold has dropped from 93,000 to 92,000. So you can see just how many new car sales are to the fleet sector. It's by far the most important sector, and so that's why we have a slightly sort of skewed chart in terms of top 10 bestsellers. Because if you look at private motorists, I'm sure we'd see completely different cars kind of be high up the rankings, but this is what sells to fleets, and that's just the way it goes. Business is very small. It's only 1.9% of the market, or 2% technically, the last month, and actually increased very slightly, unlike the other two segments, by about 5.2%. So November 2023, it's about 3,000 cars sold in this sector, and last month about 3,100. Let's now look at the top 10 best-selling cars. It's probably what you clicked on the title of the video for. We are just sort of underneath what sales in November were in 2019. We're not too far off it, but we are a little bit down on 2023. The top 10 bestsellers actually are quite surprising to me. Some of them in here I have not seen for quite a while, actually. There's the sort of predictable ones in here for the year to date. But some others I've not seen in here for a while, I think. So the top car is the Mini Cooper. Now, the thing is that I don't think the new Mini that replaced the old sort of F55, F56 Minis, this one I don't think has any other trim apart from the Cooper. Like the Cooper is the name of the model. It used to be the Mini or Mini Hatch. It's now just called the Cooper, which is confusing because I think Cooper is still used on other variants of the Mini as well. Never mind. Mini Cooper, and then like engine or battery size and trim level, I think, is the way it goes now. Somebody in the comment section correct me if I'm wrong about that. So first place, about 4,400 cars sold to Cooper. Then the Qashqai, no stock tone at all, 3,800. Tesla Model Y, about 3,400. Taylor's biggest seller in this country. The Kia Sportage, which is actually second overall in the chart for the year, about 3,300. Then the MG HS, big seller in this country now, particularly the new model that's come out, which is actually a pretty good car. I drove one of those in September when they were first out. 3,200. Then the Puma, which is still Britain's best-selling car at the moment, 3,100. Then the Volvo XC40, which is in 7th place. That's actually not a straight to top 10 at all, but it's a big seller over here, the XC40. They've got mild hybrids and plug-in hybrids and fully electric versions, depending on what you want. It's about 3,000. Then big step down to the Volkswagen Tiguan, 2,500 approximately. I've just driven one of those, which I like, actually, the brand new 2024 Tiguan, and so that'll be appearing on contingency reviews quite soon. I was interested in driving it. Maybe most of you aren't bothered, but there we go. Now the Peugeot 3008, 2,400 approximately. That's been replaced, hasn't it? There's a new one out now. Then behind a Tucson, like no trade top 10 at all. Just under 2,400. very similar kind of a Sportage, but we love our Kias over here, as opposed to the Hyundais, and so that's the way that it is. Right, let's now move on to the next sector where we look at how each individual manufacturer is doing over the last month. So we start as always with Abarth. The first two entries always on this list are Stellantis Group cars. So Abarth has no change really whatsoever. Market share remains the same at 0.03%. Number of cars sold is within one of each other, 53 versus 52. And because it's gone down by one, that's a 2% decrease, but that's not significant. Alfa Romeo do not sell many cars in this country. It's a shame. And having driven the Tonale last year, which is a bit disappointing to be honest, and looking at the new Junior at the NEC Classic Car Show, I did have one there. Again, I just found it, even not having driven it, I found it a bit disappointing. There's so many other electric cars on that platform with Stellantis, like the new Vauxhall Frontera that just come out, that you could just buy one of those instead, which is basically the same, and save yourself a lot of money, and not be complaining about the sort of cheap feeling interior, because, well, the cars are cheaper anyway. Never mind. There's been a 32% drop, and the market share has gone from 0.11 to 0.07. Number of cars sold has gone from 167 to 113. Alpine have had a good month, 120% increase. Market share is, well, more than doubled from 0.01 to 0.02. Number of cars sold has gone from 15 to 33. Audi, traditionally a very, very strong brand in this country, but unfortunately, although the market's down by 2%, they're down by 29%. Market share has dropped from 7.2 to 5.2. Number of cars sold has gone from 11,000 to 8,000. I don't quite know why. I don't really understand that. But there we go. Bentley have had a relatively good month. They've gone up from 97 to 111, and their market share has gone from 0.06 to 0.07, and that's about a 15% increase. BMW, like Audi, have had a decrease. I don't quite know why. I don't understand that. About 12%. Market share has gone from 7.7 to 6.9. Number of cars sold has gone from 12,000 to 10,500. BYD, by contrast, with all the new models they've been launching recently, they have a 4-car lineup now. They've got the Atto 3, they've got the Seal, they've got the Seal U, and the Dolphin. And I drove the Seal U back in September when it was brand new, and actually I was quite impressed with that car. I think the ride and handling still needs some work in it, but it's incredibly well equipped for the price. So the price of like a mid-range Ford Puma, you can have the BYD CLU, which is a much larger car, more sophisticated car, and with absolutely everything that you could possibly imagine. The only thing you've got to do pay for is a bit of a longer range and more performance. The equipment is the same in all of them. So I thought it was quite impressive, and whether you think it's a good brand to be in this country or not, it's up to you. But I'm just thinking about this sort of average consumer and who doesn't care about where the car's from, as opposed to concerns some people might have. It is quite an impressive car. Chevrolet for some reason has gone from 102 to 0 cars in the last year. Presumably they don't have a Corvette here anymore or something. I don't know. Anyway, Citroen, another Stellantis brand, another decrease, 9% down. Market share has dropped from 1.6 to 1.5%. Number of cars sold has gone from 2,500 to 2,300. Cupra have had an increase though. First of the brands of the Volkswagen group. 12.5% increase. Market share has gone from 1.4 to 1.6. Number of cars sold has gone from 2,200 to 2,500. Dacia, big increase. Maybe this is due to the new Spring. I don't know. I should try one of those, but it's very, very hard to get hold of Dacias for review. They don't really give cars out to people with channels my size at all. So yeah, we might not be able to do one of those for a while. Anyway, 49% increase. Market share has gone from 1.4 to 2.1. Number of cars sold has gone from 2,200 to 3,200. DS, another Stellantis brand and another decrease. 55% decrease. A lot of people don't even know we sell cars over here. probably. Market share's dropped from 0.07 to 0.03. Number of cars sold has gone from 110 to 50. Fiat, on on the other hand, they've had a very, very good month indeed. 38% increase. Market share has gone from 0.42 to 0.59. Number of cars sold has gone from 653 to 900. Presumably that's due to the new 600, isn't it? That's the new one they've got out, and then they've got the other things sort of coming out, like the Grande Panda soon and whatever. Ford, not good, presumably because the Fiesta's not around anymore. Well, he was just about holding out as the number one top spot, but that could easily be toppled by the Sportage, I would have thought. 32% decrease. Number of cars sold has gone from 11,000 to 7,800. Market share has dropped from 7.3 to 5. Genesis, hardly any change at all. One car less than November 2023, which is a 1% decrease, but the market's down by 2%, so that's okay. Market share remains exactly the same at 0.07%. Honda, who makes some fantastic cars, they're quite expensive, but they are pretty good. 27% decrease. Market share's gone from 1.1 to 0.8. Number of cars sold has gone from 1,800 to 1,300. No idea why. I still really want to test a new Civic and a new HRV. Yeah, I really want to test those. I'll see if I can work something out about that. I don't have no promises, of course, but I'll see what I can do. So I really want to do that. Hyundai, 13% increase, which is Tucson's in the top 10. Market share has gone from 4.1 to 4.8. Number of cars sold has gone from 6,400 to 7,300. Ineos, barely registering on the chart at all. They sold 31 cars last month, and in November 2023 they sold 41. Jaguar, we know that they've discontinued absolutely all their cars now. I think some will run into like 2020 as a production. Sales obviously will continue for a little while, but we know about the advert. We know about the 00 thing that they're putting out. We know about the branding. Let's not talk about that at the moment. Let's just say it's a 53% decrease. Market share has dropped from about 1% to about 0.5%, and number of cars sold has gone from 1,500 to 725. Jeep, on the other hand, I presume this is to do with the Jeep Avenger. I can't think of any other reason why it'd be like this, but Jeep has gone from 0.15% of the market to 0.79% of the market, a 428% increase. Number of cars sold has gone from 231 to 1,200. KGM, let's look at the Sanyong figures as well here. Oh, KGM, what have you done? As a Sanyong owner, I'm really, really sort of concerned about what the old Sanyong has kind of lost in terms of rebranding the KGM. It should have been a real success, but it just hasn't been. You can still buy Tivoli, of course, like we've got obviously a new model with KGM branding, but there we go. Anyway, so Sanyong, in November 2023, they sold 120 cars, which was 0.8% of the market. KGM, which Sanyong was rebranded as in January 2024, they sold 52 cars last month, and it was 0.03% of the market. So that's not very good at all. Let's go on then to Kia. Now, Kia have had a relatively good month. They have made a little bit of a decrease, but because the market is actually down by 2%, a decrease of 1% is still fine. And actually the market has increased a bit from 4.73% to 4.77%. Number of cars sold has decreased very slightly from about 7,400 to 7,300, although we did have a Sportage, which is possibly going to be the best-selling car of the year, so there we go. Land Rover, a contrast to their colleagues at Jaguar, they've gone from 2.6% of the market to 3.2% of the market. Number of cars sold has gone from 4,700 to 4,900. Lexus, for once, have had an increase. I forget the name of the little new SUV they've brought out, but apparently that's won awards and things. I really want to go in there to see what it's like. I know it's very similar to the Yaris Cross, but there we go. 15% increase. Market share has gone from 0.8% to 0.9%. Number of cars sold has gone from 1,200 to 1,400. Maserati, tiny little numbers. They sold 72 cars last November. They sold 23 last month. I don't think it's worth dwelling on that too much because I'll get depressed. Mazda, I really want to have a go in the Mazda 3 saloon. It's the last remaining saloon of its type on the market. And it's not like one of these things that's Mercedes or Audi or BMW. I really want to have a go at it. I might actually one of these days buy one of those. I really like the Mazda 3 saloon. I have done for ages. Anyway, 21% decrease. Market share was 1.3% last November. Last month, 1%. Number of cars sold has gone from 2,000 to 1,600. I don't quite know why. Mazda makes some really good cars. Although I do understand from Mr. Martin J1 Cars, reliability is not necessarily the best anymore, which is a real shame. Mercedes-Benz, good result for them. 7.7% increase. Number of cars sold has gone from 7,700 to 8,300, and the market share has gone from 4.9% to 5.4%. MG, very similar actually to Mercedes-Benz. I never thought I'd be saying this. They haven't sold quite as many cars as them though, which is surprising to me because MG's sales growth in the last few years has been ridiculous. So competing with BYD and Dacia and other people like that, I suppose, in many ways. So 8% increase. Market share has gone from 4.3 to 4.8. Number of cars sold has gone from 6,800 to 7,400. Mini, with the top selling car of the month, the Cooper, they've had a 44% increase. Number of cars sold has gone from 4,800 to 6,900, and the market share has jumped from 3% to 4.5%. Nissan, who are quite concerned about the zero emission vehicle mandate, as everyone else is, they have gone from 7,200 cars, 7,500 cars, which is good. The market share is up by about 5%, from 4.6 to 4.9%. Omoda, we've got nothing to compare that against. They've launched a Cherry backed brand. Those like BYD and MG and all that sort of stuff. JQ is another one of their brands that's going to the country soon. Aura is not in a good state. They're only selling one car at the moment, and that is the former Funky Cat, the 03, and their market, they're down by 82%. They only sold 17 cars last month, so I don't know what's going on. Maybe Great Wall Motors will do something else, or they'll just discontinue the car. I don't know. Peugeot, a Stellantis brand, but a success. 90% increase. Market share has gone from 3.7% to 4.5%. Number of cars sold has gone from 5,800 to 6,900. Excellent. Polestar, like their colleagues at Volvo, have had a good month. 16% increase. Number of cars sold has gone from 600 to 700, and the market share has gone up from 0.4 to 0.44%. Excellent. Porsche. Now we have a bit of an increase. It's a small increase, about 4%. Market share has gone up from 1.44 to 1.52%. Number of cars sold has gone from 2,200 approximately to 2,300 approximately. Renault, very, very good month for them. An excellent month for them. Is it because of this new symbiose, the French would say, symbiose or symbiose? Which one of those is it? Symbiose or symbiose? If you say something sympathique, so symbiose, there we go. Watch it out on my own. Sympathique means nice or kind. So 9.3% increase. Market share has gone from 3.1 to 3.5%, and number of cars sold has gone from 4,900 to 5,400. They've also got a 4 or 5 year warranty at the moment, which is good. Seat, my gosh, it's the Seat and Skoda sales are sort of like mirror images of each other in terms of the market share, but in the opposite direction. Seat, they had a 10% decrease. Gone from 1.3 to 1.2% of the market, and 2,000 cars to 900 cars. Skoda have had a 10% increase. They've gone from 3.7 to 4.2% of the market. 5,800 to 6,400. We love our Skodas in this country. We don't like Seat. I don't know why, because a lot of their cars are extremely similar, and I think the Seats look better, personally. There's a new brand here called Skywell, but they only sold 3 cars. That's nothing to compare against, so we'll leave that. Smart, unfortunately, despite having more models on sale now, Smart are down by 56%. They only sold 81 cars last month, which is less than Subaru. Subaru had a bit of a decrease. They've gone sort of 36% down. The market has dropped from 0.12 to 0.07. Number of cars sold has gone from 181 to 115. Suzuki, for some reason as well, have had a decrease. And they've discontinued quite a few of their cars recently. The Ignis is gone, which is a shame because we liked the Ignis viewers. We also were quite fond of the Swace, although that's just rebadged Toyota Corolla. And there's another one they discontinued as well, but I cannot for the life of me remember what it was. Anyway, so the new Swift is good. I hope I get to drive one of those at some point. But yeah, the Vitara and the SX4 S-Cross, or just S-Cross, they make up the majority of the sales for them at the moment. So yeah, 62% down. Actually, no, it's more, 63% down. Market share's gone from 1.4 to 0.5. Number of cars sold has gone from 2,200 to 800. Tesla, with the Tesla Model Y being in the top 10, not just for this month, but for the whole year, 177% increase. Literally, the boat must have come in with a bunch of Teslas on it. That's the only thing I can sort of think of that's caused this. Gone up from 1,600 to 4,600. The market share has jumped from 1% to 3%. Wow. Toyota, again, a big seller in this country, way above Vauxhall for some reason. Obviously keeping British shops going over at Burniston in Derbyshire. 14% decrease. Number of cars sold has gone from 5.5% to 4.8%. Sorry, that's the market share. Number of cars has gone from about 9,000 to about 7,000. Vauxhall, who seem to be a bit concerned what's going to happen at the moment. We'll have to cover the potential closure, actually no, definite closure of the Luton plant at the moment, and also what else happening this time. We might do that in the next very vague vlog. But anyway, Vauxhall, despite that new Frontier, which looks honestly quite impressive, 48% down. Market share has gone from 6% to 3%. Number of cars sold has gone from 9,200 to 4,800. Volkswagen, by far the best-selling brand in this country, always. They have a market share that's gone from 8.6 to 8.1%. Number of cars sold has gone from 13,400 to 12,500. But still the best-selling brand. Isn't that a 7% decrease? Volvo, very good month for Volvo. Not quite sure why. Maybe that little electric car. Is it the EX30 they sell now? Maybe as a Volvo owner, I should have a go now at some point. But I know a lot of you don't like electric cars on the channel, which is why I don't tend to test so many anymore. 36% increase. Market share has gone from 2.8 to 3.8%. Number of cars sold has gone from 4,300 to 5,900. Excellent. And then, so overall, it's a percentage decrease, about 2 compared with November 2023. Number of cars sold has gone from 156,000, actually 157, to 154,000. Not a massive decrease, but a decrease nevertheless. So there we are, viewers. That was the top 10 best-selling cars, November 2024. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like this video, leave a comment below, and let me know if you liked it. And we shall see you again in January for even more quite relevant market analysis.